Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Purnima Samant with the evening news. The headlines. India crush England by 10 wickets in third cricket test in Ahmedabad. Wrap up pink ball test within 2 days to take 2-1 lead in 4-match series. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is committed to port-led development, unveils various development projects in Tamil Nadu. Rural and coastal connectivity enhanced to ensure good markets for agricultural produce, says Prime Minister, launches several development projects in Puducherry. Centre issues guidelines and digital media ethics code for OTT, online streaming and social media platforms. UK court orders extradition of fugitive diamond merchant Nirav Modi to India in PNB scam case. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar speaks to his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi, discusses implementation of Moscow agreement and reviews status of disengagement. FATF to take a call on Pakistan's efforts to counter terror financing. Global rating agency Moody's ups India's growth projection for financial year 2021-22 to 13.7% from 10.8% estimated earlier. And Delhi government to switch its fleet of cars to electric vehicles in 6 months, says Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. India crushed England by 10 wickets on day 2 in the third cricket test at Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. India are now leading the 4-match test series 2-1. India achieved the victory target of 49 runs with a huge 6 hit by Rohit Sharma. Without losing any wicket in their second innings on day 2 of the match this evening, openers Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill led India to this remarkable victory. Earlier, England were bundled out for 81 runs in their second innings. This is the lowest ever test score of England against India. Local boy Akshar Patel claimed 5 wickets while Ravichandran Ashwin bagged 4 and Washington Sundar got 1. Ashwin has become the fastest Indian to pick 400 wickets. India were all out for 145 runs in their first innings this afternoon. For the hosts, Rohit Sharma was the highest scorer with 66 runs. For the visitors, Joe Root claimed 5 wickets while Jack Leach bagged 4 and Jofra Archer got 1. England were all out for 112 in their first innings yesterday. India's chances of earning a World Test Championship final spot depends upon the outcome of the remaining test.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said central government's commitment to port-led development can be seen through the Sagarmala scheme. He said Tamil Nadu is making a major contribution to India's industrial growth. The Prime Minister was speaking after inaugurating a slew of infrastructure and housing projects for western and southern regions of Tamil Nadu worth over 12,000 crore rupees.
The Government of India's commitment to port-led development can be seen through the Sagarmala scheme. About 575 projects at a total cost of over 6 lakh crore rupees have been identified for implementation during 2015 to 2035 period. These works cover port modernization, new port development, port connectivity enhancement, port link industrialization and coastal community development.
Mr. Modi said one of the basic needs for the industry to grow is a continuous power supply, and he was happy to dedicate to the nation 2 major power projects and lay the foundation for 1 more power project.
Tamil Nadu is making a major contribution to India's industrial growth. One of the basic needs for industry to grow is continuous power supply. Today, I'm happy to dedicate to the nation two major power projects and lay the foundation for one more power project. The 709 megawatt solar power project is developed by Neyveli Lignite Corporation India Limited in Tirunelveli, Thoothukudi, Ramanathapuram and Virudunagar districts. The cost of this project is over 3,000 crore rupees. Another 1,000 megawatt thermal power project of NLC constructed at a total cost of almost 7,800 crore rupees will be of a great benefit to Tamil Nadu. Over 65% of power generated in this project will be given to Tamil Nadu.
Mr. Modi called Coimbatore a city of industry and innovation and added the development works that are being unveiled today will benefit Coimbatore and entire Tamil Nadu. Speaking on the modernization of the Bhavani Sagar Dam, the Prime Minister said this will irrigate over 2 lakh acres of land and would benefit farmers in the state. During his speech, the Prime Minister recalled the words of wisdom of Saint Thiruvalluvar, which said farmers are the ones who truly live and all others live because of them worshipping them. The Prime Minister said Tamil Nadu has a glorious history of sea trade and port-led development, and he was happy to launch various projects related to V.O. Chidambaranar Port to Tikoron.
Tamil Nadu has a glorious history of sea trade and port-led development. I'm happy to launch various projects related to V.O. Chidambaranar Port to Thoothukudi. We recall the efforts of the great freedom fighter VOC. His vision for a vibrant Indian shipping industry and maritime development inspire us greatly. The project launched today will further strengthen the cargo handling ability of the port.
The Prime Minister said at the core of development is ensuring dignity to every individual, and one of the ways to provide dignity is to provide shelter to everyone.
One of the ways of ensuring dignity is to provide shelter for everyone, to give wings to the dreams and aspirations of our people. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana was started. Friends, it is my privilege to inaugurate 4,144 tenements. They are built in Tirupur, Madurai, Tiruchirappalli. These houses will be handed over to those who never had a roof over their head after 70 long years of independence.
The Prime Minister also paid floral tributes at the portraits of late Chief Ministers M.G. Ramachandran and Jayalalitha. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy, Deputy Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam and Union Minister of Coal and Mines Prahlad Joshi also spoke on the occasion.
Earlier in the day, the Prime Minister inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of various development projects worth 3,023 crore rupees in Puducherry. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Modi assured that the central government will provide all possible support for the development of the Union Territory. The Prime Minister laid the foundation stone for 4-laning of NH 45A covering Karaikal district at a cost of 2,426 crore rupees.
It would make you happy that the foundation stone to 4-lane the National Highway 45A is being laid. This is a 56 kilometers Sattanathapuram Nagapattinam, the stretch covering Karaikal district. Certainly, connectivity will improve, economic activity will pick speed. At the same time, it will improve access to the holy Saniswaran temple. It will also provide easy interstate connectivity to the Basilica of our Lady of Good Health and Nagaur Dargah.
Mr. Modi said the government has made several efforts to improve rural and coastal connectivity to ensure that agriculture produce of farmers gets a good market. He said the government aims to ensure that the produce of farmers reaches good markets in a timely manner, and good roads would aid in achieving that goal. He added that 4-laning of the road will also add momentum to economic activity in this area and generate job opportunities for local youth. The Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone for development of minor port at Puducherry at a cost of 44 crore rupees under the Sagar Mala scheme. This project will give connectivity to Chennai and facilitate cargo movement for industries in the Union Territory. Mr. Modi also inaugurated the Blood Centre at Jipmer in Puducherry. The Prime Minister said that healthcare would play a key role in the coming years.
One sector that will play a key role in the coming years is healthcare. Nations that invest in healthcare will shine. I am inaugurating the Blood Centre in Jipmer. This project will cost about 28 crore rupees. This new facility will accommodate advanced facilities for long-term storage of blood, stem cell banking. The facility will function as a research laboratory and a training center for personal training in all aspects of transfusion.
Puducherry Lieutenant Governor Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan and Union Minister of State for Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises Arjun Ram Meghwal were also present at the event. The government today issued guidelines and digital media ethics code for over-the-top OTT, online streaming and social media platforms. As per the guidelines, social media platforms have to remove content involving nudity and morphed pictures of women within 24 hours to ensure online safety and dignity of users, especially women users. A grievance redressal mechanism for receiving and resolving complaints from the users or victims will be put in place. Releasing the Guidelines for Intermediaries and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021 in New Delhi, Communication and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said the social media intermediaries will have to appoint a Chief Compliance Officer who will be responsible for ensuring compliance of rules.
You will have to have a Chief Compliance Officer resident in India, responsible for ensuring compliance of the acts and the rules. Second, a nodal contact person resident in India for having 24/7 coordination with the law enforcement agencies. तो पहला हो गया चीफ कंप्लायंस ऑफिसर, दूसरा हो गया नोडल कंटैक्ट पर्सन, तीसरा है अपॉइंट ए रेजिडेंट ग्रीवांस ऑफिसर हु शैल परफॉर्म द ग्रीवांस रिड्रेसल मैकेनिज्म एज आई इंडिकेटेड.
The minister said the social media platforms are welcome to do business in India, but they need to follow the constitution and laws of India. The OTT platforms will self-classify the content into 5 age-based categories and prominently display the classification rating specific to each content, together with a content descriptor informing the user about the nature of the content. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said a 3-level grievance redressal mechanism has been established under the rules with different levels of self-regulation.
Then second is, there has to be grievance redressal system. In the same manner, it will work in OTT platforms and digital portals also. They will have to have their own portal for grievance redressal. Then second tier will be self-regulation. On OTT platforms, they will have to have a self-regulation, a body headed by a retired Supreme Court or High Court judge or otherwise very eminent person in this category.
Our correspondent reports that the rules are intended to empower the ordinary users of digital platforms to seek redressal for their grievances and command accountability in case of infringement of their rights. The rules to regulate the content of digital media and OTT platforms have been brought amid the growing outreach of platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime and widespread concerns about issues relating to digital content.
The social media platforms will appoint a grievance officer to deal with the complaints, and the officer will acknowledge the complaint within 24 hours and resolve it within 15 days. They will also publish a monthly compliance report mentioning the details of complaints received and action taken on the complaints, as well as details of the contents removed. On being asked by the court or government, they will be required to disclose the originator of the mischief information. While talking about self-classification of content, the rules to regulate the content of OTT and digital media say the platforms will be required to implement parental locks for contents classified as UA 13+ or higher and reliable age verification mechanisms for content classified as A. With Divakar, Anupam Mishra, AIR News, Delhi.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah today said that peace is prevailing in Northeast due to the tireless efforts of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said development in Assam is not possible without peace in the region. Mr. Shah was addressing a rally at Karbi Anglong district on the occasion of arms laying down ceremony by 5 militant outfits.
असम को विकास के रास्ते पर आगे ले जाने का काम किया, भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त बनाने का काम किया, आंदोलन मुक्त बनाने का काम किया, घुसपैठियों से मुक्त बनाने की शुरुआत भारतीय जनता पार्टी की नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार ने की है। जो असम हथियार और आंदोलन के लिए जाना चाहता था, वहां पर बोडोलैंड का समझौता हुआ। 2 दिन पहले ही 1000 से ज्यादा हथियारी कैडर ने सरेंडर किया है और उसके पहले भी 9 अलग अलग संगठन के 600 लोगों ने हथियार डालकर आज वो मुख्य धारा में आए हैं।
The Home Minister assured that Assam will be made free of flood if BJP-led government is voted to power in the state again. He said that the BJP-led government implemented several welfare measures in the state during the last 5 years. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India crush England by 10 wickets in third cricket test in Ahmedabad, wrap up pink ball test within 2 days to take 2-1 lead in 4-match series. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is committed to port-led development, unveils various development projects in Tamil Nadu. Rural and coastal connectivity enhanced to ensure good markets for agricultural produce, says Prime Minister, launches several development projects in Puducherry. Centre issues guidelines and digital media ethics code for OTT, online streaming and social media platforms. UK court orders extradition of fugitive diamond merchant Nirav Modi to India in PNB scam case. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar speaks to his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi, discusses implementation of Moscow Agreement and reviews status of disengagement. FATF to take a call on Pakistan's effort to counter terror financing. Global rating agency Moody's ups India's growth projection for financial year 2021-22 to 13.7% from 10.8% estimated earlier. And Delhi government to switch its fleet of cars to electric vehicles in 6 months, says Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
Welcome back to the evening news. Uzbekistan Foreign Minister Abdulaziz Kamilov met External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in New Delhi today. Mr. Kamilov is on a 2-day visit to India. The two leaders discussed various bilateral, regional and global issues of mutual interest. Both ministers discussed the evolving situation in Afghanistan and noted the importance of a stable and peaceful Afghanistan for regional peace, stability and security. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke to his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi this afternoon. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar said they discussed the implementation of the Moscow Agreement and reviewed the status of disengagement. The External Affairs Ministry today stated that India has not conceded any territory as a result of the disengagement agreement with China. Replying to a query on disengagement in Ladakh, Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastava said India has enforced observance and respect for the LAC and has prevented any unilateral change in status quo. He urged that the mutual redeployment as a result of this agreement should not be misrepresented. The spokesperson said both sides view the smooth and successful completion of disengagement in the north and south bank of Pangong Lake in eastern Ladakh as a significant first step.
The 10th round of the senior commanders meeting was held on the 20th of February this year. Joint press release issued after this latest round of the senior commanders meeting, wherein it has been stated that there was a candid and in-depth exchange of views on the remaining issues along the LAC in the western sector, and both sides view the smooth and successful completion of disengagement in the north and south bank as a significant first step, as this forms a basis for resolution of remaining issues so as to achieve the eventual goal of complete disengagement in all friction areas.
India has requested Canadian authorities to take steps to ensure the safety of Indian nationals who are reportedly being threatened and intimidated. Replying to media query this evening, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastav said these threats have come from some fringe elements in Canada and this has been taken up with Canadian authorities both in Ottawa and Delhi. A UK magistrate's court today ordered extradition of fugitive jeweller Nirav Modi, who is wanted in India in the Punjab National Bank scam case. Judge Samuel Ghosh said that a prima facie case of fraud and money laundering is established. The judge also stated that Nirav Modi had conspired to destroy evidence and has a case to answer for in India. The order will be sent back to UK Home Secretary Priti Patel for a sign-off. The judge added that Nirav Modi has the right to appeal the order.
India and Pakistan today reviewed the situation along the line of control and all other sectors in a free, frank and cordial atmosphere. The Defence Ministry said the Directors General of Military Operations of both the countries held discussions over the established mechanism of hotline contact. In the interest of achieving mutually beneficial and sustainable peace along the borders, the two sides agreed to address each other's core issues and concerns which have the propensity to disturb peace and lead to violence. India and Pakistan have also agreed for strict observance of all agreements, understandings and ceasefiring along the line of control and all other sectors. The Financial Action Task Force FATF is set to decide today whether or not Pakistan has made considerable efforts to counter terror financing and take a call on whether the country will continue to remain in the grey list. It is highly unlikely that Islamabad will get a breather, as European nations believe the country has not fully implemented the points in the plan of action laid down by the watchdog. According to media reports, certain European nations, including FATF host France, have recommended that Pakistan continued to be kept in the grey list.
More than 1,26,71,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered to the beneficiaries in the country so far. A total of 16,738 new cases were reported in the country in the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 97.20%. 7 states have witnessed an upsurge in daily new cases of COVID-19. These states are Maharashtra, Kerala, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Chhattisgarh. The centre has deputed high-level multidisciplinary teams to Kerala, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir to ascertain reasons for the surge and coordinate with the state health departments in COVID-19 control and containment measures.
Persons travelling to Rajasthan from Kerala and Maharashtra will have to carry a negative RT-PCR report of COVID-19. The decision was taken during a high-level review meeting of COVID-19 chaired by Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, held at his residence this afternoon. Our Jaipur correspondent reports a public awareness campaign will be launched in the state in the first week of next month regarding COVID vaccination.
The number of COVID cases reported daily in the state is limited to 100. The number of active cases is also just 1,200. But the government is worried about the increasing number of COVID cases in other states. The Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot once again appealed to the people that all citizens should strictly follow the COVID protocol and avoid any kind of negligence. Mr. Gehlot said that there is nothing to fear about the COVID vaccination. Meanwhile, the first dose of COVID vaccine has been administered to 7,83,000 people in the state, while more than 1,47,000 health workers have been given the second dose of vaccine. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
Global rating agency Moody's today upped India's growth projection for the financial year 2021-22 to 13.7% from 10.8% estimated earlier. In its Global Macro Outlook 2021-22, Moody's said India's economy has rebounded quickly from one of the world's longest and most stringent lockdowns, which also came with the steepest fall in GDP in the second quarter of 2020. For the current fiscal year, the agency expects the Indian economy to contract by 7%, lower than its previous estimate of 10.6% contraction. The revised numbers came on the back of normalization of activity and growing confidence in the market with the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines.
The Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs today signed a Memorandum of Understanding in New Delhi for data exchange between the two organizations. It is in line with the vision both organizations to harness data capabilities to ensure effective enforcement. Both are going to benefit from access to each other's databases, which include details of import-export transactions and consolidated financial statements of companies registered in the country. In the Union Territory of Puducherry, the President rule was imposed following the fall of the Congress-DMK alliance government led by Chief Minister Narayanasamy. More from our Puducherry correspondent.
In the notification, it is said that based on the information received, that the President is satisfied with the situation that has arisen in the Union Territory of Puducherry, in which the administration of the UT cannot be carried out in accordance with the provisions of the Government of Union Territories Act 1963 and suspend the operations until the constitution of the 15th Legislative Assembly of Puducherry. It may be recalled that the Congress government led by Chief Minister Narayanasamy lost its majority on the floor test held on 22nd, following which Chief Minister Narayanasamy tendered his resignation to the Lieutenant Governor Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan, and in turn it was forwarded to the Home Ministry for consideration. Meanwhile, the opposition parties were not shown any interest to stake a claim to form the government. The main opposition, NR Congress, AIADMK, BJP leaders said that they will face the elections and form a government democratically.
Delhi government will switch its entire fleet of hired cars to electric vehicles within 6 months. Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia said over 2,000 cars will be impacted by this decision and will transition to electric vehicles. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said the decision will go a long way in curbing pollution in Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio on Sunday. It will be the 74th episode of the monthly radio program. In a tweet, Mr. Modi has urged people to share inspiring anecdotes for this program. People can share their views in the Namo app or MyGov open forum. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter @AIR News Alerts.
Global toy industry 7 लाख करोड़ रुपए से भी अधिक की है. Team up for toys.
The Government of India is organizing India's first ever, the India Toy Fair. Indian local toy manufacturers march forward for Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's time to get vocal for your remarkable local. From 27 February to 2nd March, must come forward to get registered online at www.theindiatoyfair.in.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have shallow fog. Temperature will hover between 16 and 32 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature will be 20 degrees. Maximum expected around 34. Chennai is expected to have partly cloudy sky. In Kolkata there will be mainly clear sky too. The city will observe minimum temperature of 20 degrees and maximum of around 34. Srinagar will witness thunderstorm with rain. Temperature will hover between 4 and 8 degrees. Jammu will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Leh will have light snow. Minimum temperature will be minus 4 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 6 degrees. Gilgit will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will hover between 3 and 17 degrees. Muzaffarabad will witness thunderstorm with rain. Temperature will hover between 8 and 16 degrees Celsius. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India crush England by 10 wickets in third cricket test in Ahmedabad. Wrap up pink ball test within 2 days to take 2-1 lead in 4-match series. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is committed to port-led development, unveils various development projects in Tamil Nadu. Rural and coastal connectivity enhanced to ensure good markets for agricultural produce, says Prime Minister. Launches several development projects in Puducherry. Centre issues guidelines and digital media ethics code for OTT, online streaming and social media platforms. UK court orders extradition of fugitive diamond merchant Nirav Modi to India in PNB scam case. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar speaks to his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi, discusses implementation of Moscow Agreement and reviews status of disengagement. FATF to take a call on Pakistan's efforts to counter terror financing. Global rating agency Moody's ups India's growth projection for financial year 2021-22 to 13.7% from 10.8% estimated earlier. And Delhi government to switch its fleet of cars to electric vehicles in 6 months, says Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.